So this brings me to the importance of budgeting. Most real estate agents don't have a budget. And so what I want to talk to you today about is the importance of having a budget. And here's how simple your budget can be. If you sold 10 homes this year and you want to sell 40 homes next year, something has to change. A number of things have to change. What you do has to change, how you do it has to change, and how you market it has to change. So all those changes generally come with a requisite budget or an expense, and you need to budget that expense. That way you don't run around, that way you're not running around feeling broke. The reason that realtors feel broke is because they don't have a budget, or they have a lot of unbudgeted expenses. And so over the last 20 years, the number of people that I've talked to who are agents who are like, hey, I'm making really good money, but I don't feel like I'm making really good money, because they can't account for their money. And so what I do encourage you to do is take the time to create a simple budget. Know what your monthly expenses are for for your real estate business. And then for things that are predictable, like right now, we know family reunion is in February. That means sometime in December or January, you're going to have to purchase a plane ticket. That means in February, there's going to be a hotel expense. So we can reasonably predict what those things, were, or what those expenses are. If you know in April you're going to drop a postcard, you can figure out or call up and find out what that expense is today. If there's some training you want to do, bold, you know what bold cost. And let's say I think we do a bold in March and October. So in your March and October budget, you would put the cost of bold in there. And so what this does is it does a couple things. As you're getting paid, you can set aside money specifically for those particular expenses so that you don't feel like you're going into your savings, your 401k, your credit card, etc. The other thing that you can do is, if you do get a separate credit card for your business, even if it's in your personal name, you can put the expenses on that. Like you pay for family reunion, put the expenses, and then when you get a commission check, you go ahead and pay off the balance. And so that's another way, but at least you know what your expenses are going to be. So I do recommend that everyone sit down and create a budget so that they understand what their expenses are moving into 2024. If you don't do it, then everything's going to be a surprise. Everything's going to feel like you're pedaling backwards. And it's gonna affect your mindset and your ability to produce. The other thing is you want to budget events. If you're going to be hosting events, if you're going to be hosting client appreciation things like a pie giveaway, Easter egg hunt, something like that, then you need to be putting that in your budget. That also goes back to bookkeeping, because all of that is tax deductible. What you don't want to do is have any expenses that you're not writing off your taxes. That's a double loss.
When you gave your loan to a company, what type of paperwork did you generate?
You can go online and Google just a simple loan document, a simple generic loan template, and use that for this purposes. You're really just, because you're not giving it to anyone, you're printing it out. You're creating it just so that you have it in your records. It's very important to know exactly what your personal expenses are as well. So you want to have two budgets. One budget is your personal expenses, what's your mortgage, your car note, how much food you eat, your cable, all the other expenses that go along with that. That way you know what your personal nut is on the house. And then a separate one for what the business is. That's going to tell you what the minimum you need to generate on a monthly basis is, a quarterly basis, and an annual basis is.
What's the average commission in our area?
All right. So two things. So let's use 7,500 for our purposes. At 7,500, if my annual expenses for the house and the business, what that tells me is I have to sell 13.3 homes this year in order for me to cover my expense. Now that doesn't include taxes. So if I include taxes in that, so I take the 100,000 and I times it by point, I make it 134 because I got taxes because I want a net, and I divide that by 7,750. That's almost 18 homes I have to sell. So it's important to know that, because now you can start tracking through the years, January, February, March, April, where you stand as opposed to covering your expenses. Most agents live month to month, commission check to commission check. I can tell you that's not a great way to live for a couple reasons. Forget the financial reasons that it's not a great way to live, but just the stress that goes along with that. Understanding and knowing when and where your money's going out and coming in is very important. If you know at the beginning of the year you need 18 houses to sell 18 homes, and you only sold 6 last year, now you get the fire in your belly. Now okay, I got to get to that 201 club. Now I know I got to do power hour. Now I know I got to do client events or mailings or seminars. I got to do something, because 18 homes worth of expenses is going to come either way. That 100,000 in expenses is coming either way. So you guys have to be ahead of the game in doing that. I want you to take what your actual sales volume or your actual GCI from last year was, and divide it by the number of transactions. Now you're going to get what your personal average commission is. Why is that different? Almost always, whenever people have done that, they could be as much as 28% off. And so they're thinking, oh, well, the average is 7,500. That could be based on a $84,000 house average, and they're only selling $364,000 townhouses or condos on average. When you add up all of your sales commissions and divide it by your number of transactions, that's going to give you exactly what your individual average commission is. When you add up all of the homes you sold, the sales price, and divide it by the number of transactions, that's going to give you your average sales price that you operate in. Does that make sense? That's going to be an important number for you, because if you use the generic 7,500 for Prince George's County and your actual average is only 5,600, then you're going to sell 18 homes and be like, why am I still broke? Why am I not hitting it? It's because you didn't do the right math. The other thing is you have to look at your commissions net. What's going to hit your account? So if you're on a team and you have a 50-50 split or 60-40 split with the team, you have to take that into account. If you're with the brokerage, obviously, if you're with the brokerage, you have to take into account the split with the brokerage. So you want to get your net number so that you can figure out exactly how many homes you need to sell next year. Now, here's the thing. When I see you guys walking through the market center, or I see you at the Snowball, I'm going to say, hey, what's your number? I'm asking you what your 2 numbers are. The first number I'm asking is, how many houses do you have to sell next year? Not how many houses you want to sell, how many houses you have to sell just to cover your personal and your business expenses. The second number I'm going to ask you about is, are you in the 201 club? Are you above 201? You got 252? You just tell me the number. Well, I'm at 87. I'm at 151. That's going to tell me where you guys are in terms of whether or not you're going to make that extra $120,000 or $125,000. If you're not making $125,000 yet, the quickest way to make it is to be in the 201 club. I like things like that because I'm a numbers guy. That tells me, hey, if I just get 201 contacts in this command and let it do what it's supposed to do, then I'm gonna be able to count on a certain return on that. And I think that's we as a group believe that's the way to go. And we also recommend it from the standpoint of just me personally. That's what I recommend. It's easy to keep track of. It's one of those things that numbers I found are always easy to keep track of.